A child going missing is a fear unimaginable to most parents. Perhaps this is why, when a case like this occurs, there is great interest in the parents. News outlets feature interviews of the desperate and grieving mothers. Sometimes we find out later these mothers are guilty, their tears fake and emotion manufactured. The vast array of emotions a mother feels missing their child would be very difficult to fake. Even without studying human behavior, while watching these performances, we subconsciously pick up on subtle clues that leave us with the impression that something isn't quite right. We can tell when it is not genuine. If these women are classic examples of guilty behavior, Landen Hiott is firmly at the other end of the spectrum. Her interviews showcase two dominant characteristics, both amplified by an obvious, fierce love for her son. The first is strength that fuels determination to find him. The other is despair, a wounded and broken heart. She became Gannon's greatest advocate in Gannon's voice, while Leticia attempted to portray him as a troubled runaway. Landon's loving words told the world how loving, kind, and innocent Gannon truly was, the boy she referred to as Hero. 8 days after he went missing, he gave this interview.
He loves Blue, he loves Sonic, he's into coding, he loves riding his bicycle with his sister, and I know that he's missing that right now. He holds his job as being Big Bubba very important, and for him not to be able to talk to his sisters has to be hurting him. This week has been awful. It's been more than a roller coaster ride. It's been more than emotional mess. I don't even have answers for my feelings other than I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I will never hear his voice, that I'll never hear him run and say, "Mommy," that I'll never hear those corny jokes that he always tells every single day. He has to tell me a joke. He looks forward to telling me something silly. And I'm afraid that I may never see that again or hear it. I don't want to believe that, because that means that I'm giving up hope, and I'm not giving up hope because my son is full of hope. So I'm urging anyone that has any leads, credible leads, if you're too afraid because you know something, a kid just doesn't disappear and no one sees him. It's not how this works. So if you have anything that's credible, if you're afraid, don't worry about it. Imagine my son, how afraid he is. Imagine how afraid Gannon is. So please call, please write. If you need to have someone else to do it for you, please do. Because my son deserves to be here. He deserves to be here. Please call the El Paso Sheriff's County and let them know. And I thank you guys, the community, for what you've done, because this is Gannon. This is who he is. And I thank you guys so much.
Although strategically not mentioned in the interview, from day one, Landon knew that Leticia was lying and involved somehow in Gannon's disappearance. Landon and Leticia's lives had been woven together for a very long time.
I've known her, gosh, I think a little bit even longer than I've known Albert. Like, we coach, we play ball together, and
Landon did not testify at Leticia's trial, but Albert did. He said he and Landon were together approximately 11 to 12 years, married just shy of 10. They lived together in South Carolina and had 2 children, Gannon and then Lena. Albert attributes his career in the National Guard as a factor in their divorce. He told Detective Riley that he was away from home often, and quote, "I was working hard, working too much. He went out and found it elsewhere. Tried to work through it, couldn't make it happen, so we split up. At the same time we were playing, where she was getting it elsewhere from, was on this co-ed softball team we were playing. My current wife was on the same team as well. So after me and Landon split up, Tisha knew what was going on and jumped in as, oh, I'm this great. And I fell for it. She got me. There's been times when they have worked together to get me, and there's been times when they've been like at each other's throats constantly. There are statements and rumors that Albert and Leticia began as an affair. Al was directly asked about this during his testimony, and he denied it. He described their relationship as beginning after he and Landon had separated with the intent on getting a divorce. However, infidelity is a punishable offense in the military. Admitting it during sworn testimony would not have been ideal for him. Regardless of the exact details, it would have been a difficult and emotional transition for everyone involved. Many divorces are complicated, especially with young children involved. Even if Landon was already pursuing other relationships of her own, learning that a friend was dating Albert surely provoked some emotions. According to Landon, though, at a certain point she realized that Leticia was going to be in her life one way or the other, and she made a choice to be civil. Albert and Leticia married January 2015, a year after they began dating. Originally, Landon had primary custody of the kids. Around the time Al relocated to Alaska, he filed for custody. Landon had remarried also to a man named Mike Hiott. His arrest records and public documents describe a serious criminal history as well as a troubled relationship with Landon. Most of his arrest and criminal background occurred before Landon was with him. In 2002, he was convicted of kidnapping and having indecent liberties with a child in an incident that occurred in 1998. He was convicted multiple times for failing to register as a sex offender, including this warrant in 2016 that resulted in a $10,000 bond. His other convictions include assault with a deadly weapon on government official, 3 counts of felony breaking and entering, as well as 2 misdemeanor, 2 counts of simple assault, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, false reporting, and possession of a firearm by a felon. The other charges are driving related, such as driving while license revoked, no operator license, failing to heed the siren, and driving while impaired. It's a colorful history that includes some serious charges. What is noticeably absent are any drug-related charges. Like most custody disputes, the battle became contentious, and court appearances and lawyers get expensive. Albert and Landon separately both stated that Albert was making really good money while working in Alaska. Money shouldn't matter in court-related matters, but it does. Albert eventually got primary custody of Gannon and Lena. Leticia used this to damage Landon's reputation. In the days after Gannon went missing, he posted disparaging comments about Landon on social media. Leticia wanted to appear to be the mother figure to Gannon, saying that she did everything, and Landon was, quote, not a mother, and didn't give a shit about those kids. She had them in horrible situations. She had them at motels, abusive situations, criminal scenes with her husband, did drugs, and that Landon sold his toys, his Switch, and other items for drugs. Leticia bashing Landon had the opposite effect than she hoped. Social media added this to other suspicious behavior, wondering why, when a child is missing, Leticia's priority was to talk badly about his mother. Leticia used the fact that Landon didn't have primary custody to make her seem like an unfit mother. When Gannon went missing, Landon's daughter Nova was 18 months old. Just like with Gannon and Lena, who were both born prematurely, the pregnancy with Nova had complications. According to Landon, the custody arrangements made sense during a 7-month-long hospitalization of Nova, while Landon dealt with that for Gannon and Lena to spend more time with Albert. It also seemed that Mike and Landon were separated when Gannon went missing. Learning that Landon was en route, Albert agreed that she could come to his home to stay. He said, "Yes, in times like this, we put our differences aside." He also told detectives that Landon was having a hard time financially and couldn't afford the expense of a hotel for however long this was going to take. Leticia did not want Landon at their home. For a man who obviously got arrested frequently, Mike Hyatt does not have any drug-related charges. It really isn't relative to the case, and frankly, none of my business. I only mention it here because Leticia made accusations constantly about Landon in an effort to not only make her appear to be a bad mother, but also to make Landon look guilty and involved somehow in Gannon's disappearance. I will say that if Landon did struggle with substance abuse while with Mike and then got sober, it is a fact to be admired rather than one to judge her negatively for. Public documents also describe a toxic and abusive relationship between Landon and Mike. If separating from him resulted in the financial hardship that Albert described Landon being in at the time, then again, rather than judging her negatively for it, it would be another demonstration of her strength. It's easy to fall for the wrong man, and it's often difficult to leave bad relationships. The relationship between Landon and Leticia was complicated. Landon told detectives that during the period of time when Nova was being hospitalized, he and Leticia had become good friends again. Albert was preventing the kids from seeing her in the hospital, and Leticia stepped up as a conduit for Landon to speak to and to see Gannon and Lena. It was during this time that Leticia confided in her that she planned to leave Albert at a certain point, and that she was going to take him for all that he has. The relationship was severed, however, about a year before Gannon's disappearance. Lena arrived at her mother's for a visit. She told her mother, "Leticia was mean to me," and described Leticia waking her up and shoving a pillow into her face and smothering her with it. Lena even had marks on her lips that corroborated the story. Landon said, to be fair, Lena's lips were very sensitive and broke out easily. But any mother would be concerned hearing a story like that from their child. Landon said she was reluctant to tell Albert and debated for 3 days. After dealing with the custody fight and arrangements, Landon did not want to start an issue, but finally she spoke to him about it. Albert didn't believe it and stood by his wife's side. Albert made Landon call Leticia and apologize for the accusation. After that, friendship was over. Leticia blocked Landon from her phone and from social media, and they had not spoken in a year when Leticia used Gannon's phone to call her the night Gannon was reported missing. Landon suspected Leticia immediately. Her mother's intuition was spot on. She knew Leticia was lying to her. She initially kept her suspicions from Albert as she and her brother Brandon flew to Colorado. They planned to stay at Albert's house, so she said nothing about it until they arrived and were escorted to the sheriff's department. Just as Landon's plane arrived, Albert learned Leticia lied about parking her car at French Elementary, so they both arrived on the same page to tell detectives their suspicions about Leticia. Later, in interviews, Landon said she never would have guessed the horrific truth, that Leticia had murdered Gannon so violently.
And I've always kind of looked back and wanted to see if there were signs, and I can't say that there were any. She was someone I trusted. Like, I could, when I was in the hospital with my daughter, like, we talked on the phone, and we would even say we loved each other, because we had to get past some things that had happened earlier in our lives, but it was nothing like this, by no means. And Gannon never would have shown it anyways. Like, he would always tell me I love everybody, and he would ask to talk to her, and I just don't understand the amount of love that someone could have individually, Gannon, myself, and I know Al, and then she took it for granted, so.
It sounds like you said that initially when you heard that he was missing that you suspected Leticia.
Yes, because she acted funny. Because I hadn't talked to her. Like, that was a time period that she wasn't in the picture, and I hadn't talked to her. And so she called me on Gannon's phone. And through the court process, I was the only one that she called on Gannon's phone. And that really hurt, because I knew it was another jab. And I begged her to look for my child on the phone call. I talked to her every 2 hours, and it was just weird. Something about a candle, I looked for Gannon, and then she was supposed to pick me up from the airport, her and Harley. We were supposed to do this together, and just the things that just didn't make sense. I was a little off on maybe she had something to do with this, but not to the extent of taking his life. I thought that maybe she had done something to get somebody's attention, to be the hero at the end, but not to take Gannon.
En route to speak to detectives, she called Albert and said this.
Yes, like that. Hello?
Where are you at?
I'm at the investigator's office answering some more questions.
Where's Tisha?
Is she not home? Hello?
You know, okay, all right, well, we're headed there too.
Okay. Headed where?
Where's Lena?
Lena, I think, is with Tisha.
Somebody else needs to be there, at your residence, in your house.
Landon, I know.
I'm asking you a question. Is Lena Stauch in that house with Tisha?
I don't think Tisha's at the house.
Well, somebody needs to find her.
Landon, listen, I was about to call you. I'm with the investigator. Okay. Lena, they are going to get Lena. I'll just be straight with you. I called the police and I said, go get my daughter.
I should have followed my thinking gut. I should have called you, and I told Albert.
Landon, we're gonna get this to the bottom of this. We're gonna get this done, and we're gonna work together, okay?
Well, I'm just gonna let you know that my son, if he is found,
Should I tell her to come here?
A situation, and we are going to go to South Carolina. You can come with us. My son needs to be found.
Landon, I'm here right now, and there's deputies out there, and there's people in the community out there. Everybody's looking for him.
He has probably been dropped off somewhere. I'm telling you what's happened. She probably planted this, and she has dropped him off somewhere. My youngins out there in the cold.
Landon?
The following weeks, before Leticia was ultimately arrested, reveal Leticia's obsession with Landon. In addition to the social media post, Leticia frequently mentions Landon while speaking to Albert on the FBI-recorded pretext phone calls, insinuating that Landon was guilty and accusing Albert of sleeping with her. She was jealous of social media's support of Landon and jealous of Albert embracing her during interviews.
I said I would turn all that over to police gladly. I told you that 16 times. You want me to tell it 17? I called and asked for help. I called and asked to stay with you, but you were like, no. But you were too damn busy trying to beat up your ex-wife's ass. Take it how you want to. I know you don't ever want to even be with me again. So why? Go on, be with your wife. Your ex-wife. I don't care.
Listen, I'm telling you, we've gone around.
You slept with her while she was there anyway.
Listen to me. We beat around the bush about
Did
this.
you?
This
Did you sleep with her while she was there?
who are you talking about? Listen. Forget about Landon. Forget it.
Did you? Answer the question.
What?
Did you?
No, absolutely not. I'm not here being questioned because I've done nothing wrong. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I ain't
It's on
seen.
social media.
Okay,
It's on
well-
social media. Why? All kinds of everything.
Well, it's on
that's
social
fucking
media.
lie.
It's on social media that you killed him. So you want me to believe everything I hear on social media?
No, because you're Albert. Why in the world would you think that?
I'm not thinking that. You just told me to believe social media. Social media says you're a
I said
killer.
it's on there, meaning they saw it.
Okay,
Meaning
so
they saw a picture of me. That's all I meant. They
So-
just see a picture of me doing it.
social
Killing,
media.
I didn't kill anyone.
Social media says you're a killer and that Landon's the hero. Do you want me to believe that?
Well, if you believe that, you're dumb. Want to know why? Because you know better than that.
Okay, well, I mean,
You're treating her like she's a hero. Exactly what you're doing. Instead of being with your wife, you've been with your ex-wife.
no, I haven't been with nobody. I told
You
you,
want me to believe?
I've been with
you
my
want me to
family.
believe that that's how this is supposed to be?
You can attack me all you want to, okay, but it
I'm
really
not
doesn't
trying to
matter.
attack you.
Yes, that's
You
an
have
attack.
no business. You should be with your wife.
Okay, well, what's with all this crap you're sending her now? You're telling the world how much of a piece of shit she is, but now you're
I
trying
haven't
to.
sent her anything. My shit has been hacked. I can't. Don't believe nothing unless it's my daggone Yahoo where we trace the phone. But I haven't said another word to her. You read the emails I sent her when she wrote me. I told her, fuck her. She ain't done a goddamn thing for those kids. Don't be fucking playing hero. Read them.
All right,
She was sitting right beside her.
they went to Texas. I ain't reading shit. I just saw what
Okay,
she
well,
forwarded me. She forwarded
wrote
me something
as soon
about
as I
ransom.
said She wrote you. You wrote me that night. As soon as I said something to you about her saying bingo, you had to be sitting right beside her. You had to tell her that.
Wait, whoa. No, you talking about when she replied to you after that one email you sent when you said fuck her? I was.
No, you was.
No, I'm gonna
She
tell you
sent
what
me the
happened.
email first.
No, she didn't. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. I was sitting there in the room. They had another hotel room. It was at that time of night when Lena was going to bed, and every night I put Lena to bed, and the email came through, and she read it, and that's when she messaged you back, and that's the absolute truth. And you can question it all you want to, but that's what happened. I don't show them shit, okay?
Well,
Because
I defended you and I defended myself and said you ain't done motherfucking things. Don't be coming up to my house. You shouldn't be here. Did she tell you I said all that?
Listen, I don't get into nothing she's saying. And that's the God's honest truth. She's.
Those freaking people doing tarot cards and freaking paying psychiatrists to do all this crap, okay? So everybody's going to have that to say to you, or they're going to come up with some reason and tell you why they're right.
Right.
Even if they-
I know that. I know
Yeah.
that, Tisha. I'm my ears to the ground enough to know there's psychics, I think is what you're trying to say. Psychics and all kinds of people out there doing readings and all kinds of fun stuff, right? It's funny that you
So where
mentioned
would you
that.
have heard that from, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that because I've gotten a couple messages from people claiming to be psychics. So it's funny that you say that. But
No, I don't know what you said to me. It's all online. Everything, and guess what? Your wife is following it. And he's feeding into it.
my what?
Yeah, your wife, Landon.
my wife.
She's following it and feeding into it.
Yeah,
So
all right,
maybe
so-
that's what you need to look at with talking to you about psychics, because she's right along in there with you.
Yeah, good for her. I mean,
Leticia was desperate to get Albert back, for him to publicly support her, because public opinion had turned against her. As you will see in the next video, within hours of the first meeting with detectives, Leticia realized her lies were not being believed, and suspicion was beginning to focus on her. Her first solo interview with detectives resulted in her phone and her car being seized. The next day, she took all of her belongings from the home and fled. Rather than admit she was running from the investigation, she claimed she did this because Landon was staying at the home.
you left, and I'm offering you a
What is
meeting.
it? Just a meeting? I left or I was taken away?
No, you left
You
out
can't
of.
hold that against me about me. No. You brought your ex-wife to our home, and that was wrong.
I didn't bring nobody. She got her ass on a plane and came, and the messages show that you told her that you would support her when she got here. So we're not playing this game. She is irrelevant in this conversation.
I said, I need to ask Albert, and then what did I do? I got on the phone with you, and I said, I don't agree with this.
Okay, fine. You know what? My son's missing. I don't care about stupid, petty. You think I'm hooking up with her. It's about Gannon. So you give me the truth, and I'll meet.
It's not about hooking up with her. It's about you. You should.
But that's all you said. Letecia, stop. Pump the brakes.
You should never be on TV hugging your ex-wife.
Actually, I should, because she's the mother of my son, and I'm not playing this game with you. Okay? Do you want to meet?
Guess what?
Do you want to meet or not?
You should. Do you want to know what?
Do you want to meet or not?
Do you want to know something? You should. Well, then guess what? This wife of yours has done everything that sorry ass motherfucking mother hasn't done. Okay?
I'm not arguing with you about that. I'm not arguing anything.
Do you think I got a hug from you?
You got plenty of hugs. You got plenty of hugs until you decided to bounce and come and get your shit and bounce.
Anything? I asked for Valentine's Day. I said, hey, let us come stay. Do you think you gave me anything? But you can give her conversations every day. You can talk to her every day.
Listen, you've been begging me. Listen.
On you, did all this shit to the kids.
Let me tell you something.
God.
Listen.
How dare you?
You're not making you're not making yourself believable to me. You are, like I said, I want honesty. The most honest you've been.
You're too blinded to even understand any of it. If I try to tell you that your fucking baby mama has something to do with it, you're not going to believe me. But she did.
Okay, then let's prove it. Give me the proof.
No, I'm not. For you to fucking laugh at hotels with her.
I'm not. I haven't once. I've told you that. I don't care. You could accuse me all you want to, like you've done for 5 years. Okay? I don't have nothing to hide.
You won't even tell me anything. You haven't had the decency to tell me anything about nothing. You started kicking me off, kicking me out the curb. But you talk to her every day, though, didn't you?
Not really, actually.
No, because she's your children's mother, right?
Yep, absolutely. And you have information that you're not telling me, and you have the chance to show that you're better than her. Okay?
No, I don't.
If she's involved in this, let's take her down.
Then you go make a statement that you are standing by your wife and then see what you did.
Letecia had an unhealthy obsession with Landon. She uses the custody battle as proof of her devotion and love for the kids. But really, it was about winning against Landon. For nearly 20 years, these women's lives were tangled together with ebbs and flows of emotion. Letecia may have felt temporary satisfaction when she and Al were granted custody, but she soon learned that the one thing she could never take from Landon was her son's love. Albert always described Gannon as a mama's boy. Gannon adored his mother. Letecia admitted to FBI agent Grusing that she tried to poison Gannon against Landon.
Let's see, the biggest disagreement. I think probably because he doesn't, and again, he probably shouldn't have this on him as a kid, but not like seeing the light of how if he couldn't go home. He was so like, kind of like forgiving, it's okay, mommy don't have money to do this, and if I said anything like, well, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did, I would be like, well, if she quit doing this, she could pay for it, and I would always figure out a way, but then it was like, I'd say, I wanted him to see that.
Gannon had a session with his counselor a week before his death, and he mentioned his desire to go live with his mother. Perhaps this contributed to his death, or at least the violence that she unleashed upon him. Letecia's Google searches tell her desire to leave Albert and to start a new life. Instead of simply leaving, she hurt Albert and Landon in the worst way possible. She didn't just murder Gannon, she destroyed him. 20 years of emotion were unleashed in his bedroom. She punished Gannon for loving his mother, punished Al for not making her happy, and punished her nemesis Landon for constantly reminding her of her insecurities. When Leticia was arrested, Gannon's body had not yet been found. Authorities knew from the huge bloodstain that he was no longer alive. Landon and Albert were present at the press conference announcing the arrest and the charge of murder. Landon displayed her incredible strength throughout, only breaking when they officially said that her son was no longer alive.
Leticia will be held without bond in the J. Reuben Long Detention Center in Horry County, South Carolina, where she will remain until she's extradited back to Colorado Springs on the following charges. Charge 1, murder in the first degree of a child under 12 years of age by a person in a position of trust.
Landon speaks at the end. Her love and her pain resonated from every word as she corrected Gannon's narrative from Leticia's victim to the world's hero.
That when he said Gannon is no longer with us, I'd have to say Gannon is with us. After the stories of people from all over the world, he's not only my hero now, he's the world's hero. So I think the community, the positive support from a state that I've never visited other than 2 or 3 times, I'm astounded by the amount of love that's not come from me. It's came from my boy. And never thought I'd be standing here. It's a nightmare. I've had to put trust in the people I don't know. Today, I got the worst news and the best news. Obviously, we know what the worst news is, but the best news is that justice will be served. And I'll make sure that justice is served because my boy did not deserve any of this that has happened to him. So I urge media one more time just to hold off on questions until we know that this person, the stepmom that I even trusted, that she will pay 100% for this heinous thing she done. And I know that that's going to will be done. So I ask you guys, I beg and plead if you've known or if you see this story, all of you have seen this story, please hold that very close to you. Because I want to live this earth knowing that justice was served for my boy. And I know that you've seen pictures, you've seen stories, you've seen my little man. He is truly my hero. And I'm gladly giving that to you guys too, that he can be your hero. I've heard stories of people that have not prayed in years, that have finally fell on their knees to pray. And I know where my son's at, without a shadow of doubt. So many families have been brought closer together because of this. I know my boy is special, and I've told my people in my family and friends that Gannon has a testimony, that Gannon has a story. He's special. And this is his story. So make that story magnificent, who my child is. And I'm putting my trust into you guys to do that. So thank you for allowing Gannon to be your hero and sharing him with us.
And finally, the story of these 2 women came to an end at the conclusion of the trial. During the victim impact statements, Leticia hunched over in her chair, head down, as Landon delivered a powerful statement to the woman she once called friend.
I miss you, Gannon, and I love you to the moon and back again. I know every day you're with me and your sisters, but that will never be taken away. The ache that I have for you, to hold you, to hug you, to tell you how much I love you, and to see your smile and your innocence. I remember all the pain your dad and I suffered with having children. It was never easy, and we were always fearful through the process. On September the 29th, 2008, our lives were forever changed. Our first biggest blessing came into the world, weighing only 1 pound and 6 ounces. You fought all the odds and developed a personality
and a smile that's larger than life. You became my hero that day. You forever changed my heart and my life, and that will never change. That is something that can never be taken away from me. You came into this world fighting. And unfortunately, you left this world fighting. Your Honor, she fought against someone that he loved and trusted. Someone that myself and Albert both trusted and loved. Someone who can never understand what it means to love or trust anyone but herself. For more than 3 agonizing years, I've often wondered what I may say, or if I would even be able to. For 3 years, I have questioned every single possibility and scenario. For 3 years, I have tried to forgive you, but I can't. I want to. But no parent should have to bury their child. No parent should have to see or hear the horrific things you have done. To the whole family, she has taken away the most precious gift in this world. Not just my family, not Al's family, but your own family. She destroyed dozens of lives of people who never wanted to believe that she could have done this. She knew how special Gannon was, and she knew what meant to most to me. I, in my heart, can never understand her hatred and insecurities. When it came to me, I did love her. Mother to mother, I trusted her with my children while trying to survive a complicated life with my 3rd child. And she used every opportunity to write a narrative of my life to try to take pieces of my life. When she already took some of it, that still wasn't enough. She searched. I lost my place. I don't know where I'm at now. She searched so hard for love when all along she had it, but she took it for granted. I didn't hold anger against you then. I still kept my heart open to her. You had so much love from Lena and Gannon, from Harley, her own daughter, that you willingly subjected to the chance of serving time for her crimes. Such an indicator of her inability to love anyone herself. You had support, appreciation for me, even when we couldn't see eye to eye, because I valued her for helping me with our children when I physically couldn't. Even when I was fighting for my kids, as you wrote, a false smear campaign against me and my children, and also Al. For me, I still appreciated that they were loved by you. So I thought. She had everyone fooled. She projected abuse and addiction claims against all of us, not just me, when all along she was the one harming innocent children. Anything to take the light off, manipulating us, breaking my kids, and murdering my son. I can't say that she ruined my life, because that would be some form of sick victory for her. Because even through this process, it's been a game to her. The people who listened doesn't know her style or her sly jabs. She's even made at Albert and I. They do not know the significance of certain things she says or does. But we do. Instead of allowing her to take that power of hurting me further, I wanted to tell you this. Let me tell you what Gannon has done. Even to this day, even after you murdered him and she tried to taint any positive image of him, he has caused families and communities to come together. Children and adults have given their life to Christ. He has called unity in times of trial. He is a hero. She even tried to steal that away. A cape, huh? The one image of Gannon that was created for the world. After it went national, TV begging for the return of my son, my hero. How dare her? How truly sick and cruel is she? You stole so much from this world. Gannon's cousins, aunts, uncles, sisters, new siblings, grandparents, and friends are missing a huge portion of their lives without Gannon. Lena is missing her brother. Your Honor, I've never seen a bond between two siblings so close as theirs. She had to take that. Why? I'm afraid we may never know that answer, will we? I show his baby sister Nova pictures and videos of Gannon so she will always remember who he is, because she stole him from us. He is not forgotten and never will be. And it's so sad to sit here today and face her, a person even Gannon loved, one that I know while she was attacking and killing him and fought for his life, he defended himself against her, still loving her. A love she never deserved from him for what she has done. While she is too much of a coward to even come forward with the truth, she owes it to Gannon. But the lack of remorse and the lack of respect to Gannon through this child, her lack of compassion shows me that she and we were all wrong. She manipulated all of us and never loved Gannon, Lena, or Harley. I've sat here for over a month having to listen to her sick lies, even as she tried to destroy who I was and Albert as a father. I've had to sit and listen and watch every reenactment of images no one wants left in their mind. You wanted to leave us with that, knowing it would torture us. But you underestimated me. I am Landon, Gannon's mom, and that will never change. Through my hurt, anger, and pain, I will never be the monster that she is. I can never be filled with the hate that her heart holds. I pray that we will never have to look at her face again. I will continue to hold on to my faith. Vengeance is not mine, as I surely wish it could be at times, but it's the Lord's. I have to trust in that. Thank you, Judge Warner, for your compassion, your patience through this trial. I want to thank the juror for their attentiveness and time that they took for justice for my boy, to the detectives, officers, legal team for every single second they've poured out into Gannon's case, and to the community for your countless hours. Tisha, that was her biggest mistake. You underestimated this community and this defensive team, Lawson Ranch. They searched for and fought for Gannon within hours, and they never believed your lies from the moment they started. None of these people ever gave up on him. You never looked. All of these people I will forever hold close to my heart. Always Gannon strong. My G-men forever. Justice has been served today. Your Honor, I pray that you just give her the best sentencing, the longest sentencing that you can. This will not bring my son back, but I can sleep soundly for the first time in 3 years, knowing that you can never harm, this defendant can never harm anyone again, knowing Gannon will always be a true hero in a cape. He will always be my son. That will never be taken away.
As if Leticia had not hurt them badly enough, Landon spoke of sly jabs that only she and Albert would understand. The example she used was the symbol of a cape. Because Landon frequently referred to Gannon as her hero, this symbol quickly emerged on social media, a silhouette of her G-man, cape blowing in the wind. The hurtful jab Landon referred to was Leticia trying to ruin the symbol that meant so much to Landon. The closest Leticia came to confessing to murdering Gannon was a story she told during a psych eval after pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. She claimed she accidentally shot what she thought was an intruder, which turned out to be Gannon with a blanket wrapped around him. The cape, in Leticia's narrative, instead of a powerful symbol to remember him, became the reason for his death. It's just another example of Leticia's cruelty.
Crossing over the front stairwell, someone in a, it looks like a cape. Okay? So it's like a cape wrapped around them. Goes straight into the back bedroom. As soon as I see him go to the straight back bedroom, I'm going to instantly go into protection mode. I went to go grab the gun off, like from the anchor, because I thought the person in the cape, I didn't know who it was. It happened with the whole Michael the Archangel, the whole thing that happened with my stepdad, and when I grabbed it from him, the gun hits me, and then hits the person in the cape. At the time, I didn't know who the person in the cape was. Paul, standing on top of the bed. I didn't know at the time it was standing on top of the bed until later on when I sat down with my attorneys and we put it together and realized it. I didn't know until that point that it was Gannon standing. Because prior to that, I thought it was the whole like cape thing. We've put it together over and over and over, and I sit and I cry with them. I did this with them and everything. The only thing that comes to my mind is that the way the cover was wrapped, that's what had to look like the cape, was the way that he had the cover wrapped around him.
Considering Leticia's obsession with Landon, I imagine Landon's words will haunt her and will result in more punishment than prison will. Landon's Facebook page is a testimony to motherhood, documenting her life with her beautiful daughters. But Gannon is still present daily in her pictures. She appreciates and participates in the many memorials that honor him. The photos of clouds offer a glimpse into her grieving soul. When one experiences a truly devastating loss, a life-altering loss, you seek signs with an open mind. Many religions and philosophies define grief and suffering as a far better teacher than happiness and contentment. That feeling that the world is not as it should be is when one seeks knowledge and understanding. Landon looks to the clouds, looking for the heart-shaped ones that Gannon sends to her to let her know that he is okay. Leticia certainly wounded Landon, but she could not destroy the love that she was so jealous of. Landon has used her experience and the platform to spread a loving message, to never take a moment for granted, and to cherish your time with those that you love.
Love. Love. No matter what. Love took him out of this world. If we can have just a drop of love that Gannon had, this world would change. You wouldn't hear about some of the things that we hear about on the news stations. We wouldn't be hearing the story that we're hearing today if we just had that love. And that word is in caps lock, like it's imminent, like it's important. It's important for you to tell others that you love them. When you wake up, make sure you tell the people that you love them, because that word, the meaning, it can go a long way. Some people can just be holding on to just a little bit of hope, and that four-letter word, love, can change your life. And that's all that I know. Sometimes I'm a little naive, if that makes sense, but I try to love. And that it's hard to love it sometimes, but once you disperse the love, it becomes contagious, and Gannon has done that.
Whatever your beliefs are, or however you meditate or pray, I will end this video with images of clouds and ask for love, light, and healing thoughts for Landon and for her beloved Gannon.